For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Shotgun Spratling for instant analysis of USC's Wednesday practice of Arizona State week. Now, Wednesdays are the days where we talk to defensive coaches and players, and I thought it was interesting, Shotgun. The phrase that we heard from defensive coordinator Todd Orlando was situational awareness, and that obviously seems like a big key heading into this Arizona State game.
Yeah, we asked about the zone coverages. USC's been playing a little bit more zone in the last couple of weeks, and it hasn't been too successful for them. There's been some holes in the zone, and Todd Orlando said part of it is situational awareness, but he elaborated on that and said that's a big key for them going forward, especially with a quarterback like Jaden Daniels at Arizona State, a guy that wants to pass but can also run when he gets outside the pocket and puts a lot of pressure on guys on the outside edge when he does get outside the pocket, or whether he's going to run or pass. You got to be aware, is there somebody behind you that he can just dump it off to if you try to come up. So different things like that. So that's something that's going to be really big against Arizona State, and stopping Jaden Daniels is going to be key for USC, but really it all starts with the run game.
Yeah, when you mention ASU's offense, you have to mention the run game, and that's actually an area where USC's defense has struggled this season. That seems especially dicey coming into this week given USC's defensive line health.
Yeah, I mean, you come into this game or last week, you don't have Ishmael Sopsher, you don't have some of the big bodies in there that you thought you were going to have this season, so you end up with Max Gibbs, playing a career-high snaps. You have Colin Mobley, the freshman, getting his second opportunity, first time and not garbage time, getting some playing time in there. But they should get some guys back, hopefully, this week. That's what, I talked to Vic Soto, that's what it sounds like. Ishmael Sopsher, they're hopeful that he'll be back. Nick Figueroa, we've seen him do a little bit in practice, not too much. He has been in pads, so we'll see if he's back for them. Jamar Sakona is a guy who was sitting out last week as well. He was back in pads this week, so could get a couple bodies back, which will only help them with their depth there. But when I talked to Vic Soto, he said depth doesn't really matter if the guys aren't making plays. So, he's not going to rotate guys just to rotate guys. He needs guys that are going to get in there and make some plays. So we'll see if some of those guys can come in and step up. Ishmael Sopsher, we saw him in there against Notre Dame. He, was able to clog up the middle a little bit and take up two blockers, but wasn't able to come back the next week. So we'll see if he's available for them, just adding that big body there. And maybe someone like Max Gibbs continues to get more and more reps for them. You've seen some different guys in there last week. You saw Elijah Winston on the edge. We'll see who on that defensive line is healthy and who can make some plays.
Mm-hmm. Now, safeties coach Craig Naivar said if you don't stop the run, they'll just run it all day on you. Do you feel like this coaching staff has figured out the issue and why teams can run on them?
I feel like the coaching staff understands their issues, but fixing them has been an issue for them, has been a problem. They haven't been able to, they've been able to identify what the issues are, but are they making those corrections? Are the players making those corrections? We haven't necessarily seen that. It seems like a lot of the times the same issue. And, Craig Naivar said that. He was asked, what's it like having, is it frustrating having this? He said, yeah, definitely. It's really frustrating when you see what the problem is. You're not able to correct it, in the moment, in the week coming up. As the season is progressing, they're having some of the same issues over and over. And maybe that lends to more guys, more new personnel getting in there. We've seen Chris Thompson. Yeah. We've seen him a little bit more. He was out earlier in the season, and, Craig Naivar and Todd Orlando both mentioned, they could have used him in a couple of those games where they were getting run over because he's a bigger body, physical presence that they can put at that nickelback spot. So Greg Johnson has been playing that nickel. He's been banged up the last couple of weeks, but he's more of an athlete that they can cover out in space. Whereas Chris Thompson is a guy that can put down the box to help out with that run game. So he's a guy that was subbing in last week. They rotated 5 safeties in there. Xavier Alford also getting in there along with Chase Williams, Kalen Bullock, IPM. So they're trying to keep those guys fresh, and that's something Craig Naivar said. Those guys, they're checking the GPS. They're checking the play counts that they have, trying to keep them fresh as much as possible, and they bring some different elements. And Chris Thompson's a guy that could help them out in the run game, so we'll see how much he's used this week as well.
Mm-hmm. As you mentioned, you had a nice interview with Vic Soto. I think you were there for like 7 minutes. Any fun tidbits from that interview? I
mean, I love talking to him about Max Gibbs, and Todd Orlando mentioned Max Gibbs as well. He's a guy that's getting a little bit more playing time, is progressing, and he's learning how to be able to go for a full drive instead of one play in and back on the sideline. So he's kind of learning and learning what he has to do on multiple plays instead of just having one assignment on one play and then being taken out. But just when he made that first tackle, you heard the entire sideline kind of roar. It sounded almost like a turnover over there because how excited everyone was. And, Max just brings up the entire energy of the defense. And Vic Soto is very complimentary of what he brings to the defense as far as that, that everyone loves him and everything. things. So it's fun to hear about Max Gibbs, but just looking at the depth and seeing what they can do, and they did get 5 sacks last week as a team, but Vic Soto says there's still more out there. They're leaving some plays out there. They've got to be able to finish more, so that's what he's looking for from that defensive line, and hopefully he gets some more pieces back that he can plug and play.
Alrighty, Shotgun, it's that time of the week. How do you think this one's going to go? USC at Arizona State.
It'll all come down to that run game. I know we talked about it, but that's going to be the big key. Jaden Daniels is great when it comes to play action, and if the run game is going, that's going to open up a lot more options for him. USC has struggled against the play action, just being able to read, identify it, and track whether it's a run, whether it's a pass. They're just coming down a little bit too hard and open up some gaps between those safeties and linebackers at times. So if they can stop the run, though, make Arizona State one-dimensional, then they have a chance to win this game. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, though. Last year it took a dramatic comeback, and Drake London making a great catch in the end zone. Unfortunately, number 15 is not around for the rest of the season, which brings a single tear down the face. So I don't know how USC is going to go on the road and play better than they have recently without Drake London. It's going to take a team effort, and maybe that's something that can, cauterize this team and have them come together, but unfortunately, there's been various points this season where that could have happened, and it hasn't happened yet. So I'm not putting any money on that happening this week either.
Practice-wise, now that you've seen a week of practice, or at least 2 open practices, who do you see filling in for that Drake London role?
I mean, we've seen Kyle Ford. He's been on the left side a lot where Drake London normally has been. But I think it's going to be a collective effort. A guy like Lake McCree is a guy that has been making some plays throughout this week, and he could be a weapon because they're going to need weapons, not just someone to fill in and, hey, maybe Kyle Ford gets 6, 7, 8 targets. It's going to have to be spread around a little bit more. They're going to have more guys step up, and, whether it was Taj Washington or Garrett Bryant, those guys, instead of getting 5 or 6 targets in the game, maybe they get 8 to 10. Everyone's going to have to step up a little bit, and they need somebody to be a playmaker. Lake McCree's a guy that's made some plays in practice, and so we'll see if someone else steps up and can be that. They're not, just having guys wide open, so it's going to take someone creating some space themselves with their routes that they're running and whatnot. So we'll see who steps up, if Malcolm Epps can be a target for him in the red zone. There's a lot of options for them, but I don't know if anyone's ready to take a big step forward and become that go-to guy. We'll see, though. We'll see if someone surprises us or not, but I think it's going to have to be a collective where a lot of guys are doing a little bit more.
Alrighty, Shotgun, any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
I did get to talk to Elijah Winston, one of my favorite people to talk to on the team. Hope you guys check out that interview because he's just such a thoughtful young man. And he's gone from, he was getting a little bit of playing time 2 years ago in 2019. He had a turf toe injury then. Breaks his ankle in 2020 leading into the season. So new coaching staff. He's got to prove himself while coming back from this injury. He talks about all that and the process is going through and saying the humbling experience that it was, and just kind of the beacon he's trying to be for his teammates and the example he's trying to be for them. A guy who's been basically relegated to scout team this season, but has made his way up and got some playing time last week, and we'll see if he can continue. Just always great to talk to, though. He's just a thoughtful young man and really fun, and hopefully he's a guy that continues to get in there and make some plays.
Definitely on the top of fun interviews or good talkers, which we always appreciate as reporters. Okay, but that's going to wrap it up for USC's Wednesday practice of Arizona State Week. For Shotgun Spratling, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.